going to crochet with Potter and Bloom.
Hi, okay, so it's spring. Spring is in full bloom. I am beyond excited that the sun is shining and I can actually get out into the garden. It is incredible. I love the garden, even though it is abnormally big and we really need to have something done to it. But that's beside the point. The point is that I'd got these tulips from the shops this week and I could not believe. Can you see how beautiful that is? They are actually lemon and baby pink. And look inside. Oh. So I bought them obviously because they're beautiful and I couldn't resist them. And I've been staring at them all week. Admiring them all week, should I say. And eventually I thought I can't not do anything about this. And so I have made a granny square, completely inspired by this gorgeous thing here. Do you like it? I love it. This middle flower is actually sort of 3D. It's squidgy. If you look on the back, can you see that it's raised from the rest of the granny square? The back looks amazing actually. So it has so you start off at the beginning, so it's not joined on at the end. You actually start off with this puffy flower, and then you join your yellow yarn underneath and it comes out, and then the final round of green just forms the square. I love it. It's not my pattern, it's actually a vintage Pam Dawson pattern, and you know I love Pam. She is incredible. She was incredible, should I say. The pattern is from a granny square shawl that she had made for the Golden Hands range of books that she did, and the shawl that she makes is actually just cream. So I didn't know how this was going to turn out. It was all a bit hit and miss. And also the other thing that I've done is I've used this gorgeous Artesano Pure Alpaca DK, which I love. This yarn is seriously incredible. I can't remember the colours I've used. I do know that this one is called Sweet Pea because this is actually my favourite colour from them. Look at that. It's such a proper beautiful baby pink. So I think what I'm going to do, what am I going to do? I was considering maybe doing a different colorway, or maybe actually I'll tell you what I am going to do. No, I know what I'm going to do. I am going to make the pink flower. The first time I made this is my second attempt, and the first time I made this row here, here if you can see a bit better, that was green as well, but I actually made a mistake. The flower is supposed to have 8 petals and I had only done 7, so yeah, I was not impressed. I was not impressed when I had to go back and start all over again. So you can stay there because you're beautiful and you're my inspiration. Yeah, so here we go. We begin. So I'm using a 4mm hook and Artesano Pure Alpaca DK yarn. So you can use any DK yarn you like. You can use any yarn you like. Just make sure that if you use a different size yarn, you are no, sorry, you can't stay there because you're going to get in the way. If you use a different size yarn, just make sure you use a corresponding hook. I don't need to tell you that. You know that already, don't you? So we're going to begin by chaining 4 and joining with a slip stitch to form a loop, and then we're going to chain 1 and work 8 DCs. I have slightly modified this actually because Pam says to do 7 DCs into the loop, but I think that's why when I did the first version I only ended up with 7 I think that's why I only ended up with 7 petals, because actually that first chain 1, I don't know why, it just disappears into the work, and it's really hard to find it and get hold of it and work it. So yeah, my bad, but I've just changed it slightly. Still Pam's pattern though, because she is the queen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just make sure you've got 8 good stitches that you can see really well, and join with a slip stitch. So you've got your first little centre bit. Okay, now we're going to start making petals, and we're going to be using double trebles, and I think I've done a double treble video. If I haven't, I do apologise, and I will do one very soon, but I'm going to show you how to do them anyway. So round 2, 4 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4. This counts as your first double treble, and now we're going to do 5 double trebles into that same stitch. Okay, double treble is twice round your hook into the stitch, bring up your loop, yarn round hook through the first 2, yarn round hook through the second 2, yarn round hook through the third 2. Okay, so we're doing 5 of those. So that's 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, because that first one, that counts as your first one. Okay, so I've got 5 double trebles there. Now what you do is you take your hook out of that last loop, leave it there though, because you've got to go get it back, and you put your hook back in to the top of the first double treble. Now because the first double treble on this iteration is iteration, I just said that, I don't even know what it means, I'm sure it probably doesn't mean the right thing, is a chain 4, so you put it into the top of the beginning chain 4. So you put your hook in to the top of your beginning chain 4, the top of your double treble, and you then put your hook back in to your final stitch. Okay, so you've got something that looks a bit like that, and then you wrap your yarn around your hook and you pull it through both, and it creates a little 3D petal. Can you see? I love it, such a good idea. So then we chain 2, and now we're going to do exactly the same thing in all of the stitches all the way around, but it's 5 double trebles. Okay, so my next stitch is here. Did I say 5 double trebles? I mean 6. 1, 2, 3. So you do 6 double trebles into the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I just count. It soothes my mind. Kind of makes me remember what I'm doing. So it's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is our next petal. We take our hook out, we put our hook into the top of the first double treble and back into the loop at the top of the last, wrap our yarn round and pull it through, and created petal number 2. Chain 2 and do that all again. I'm going to work all my way round and I'll meet you at the end, so carry on doing that. 6 double trebles join them at the end and chain 2. So I'm just coming up to my last petal. I hope that you have found that nice and easy. So I've done my 7th petal, chain 2, and then my last petal I do 6, double trebles, 2, 3, 4. Betsy's in the garden with her daddy. We've just bought a new lawnmower because Darren went to mow the lawn last weekend and the lawnmower wouldn't work, so he had to go and buy a new lawnmower, and he's trying to put it together and Betsy's out there with him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can just hear her singing. It's quite funny. I don't know if you can hear that too, but that is. So you do your 6 double trebles, you take your hook out, you put your hook back into the first double treble, back into the loop that you were working, yarn round and put it through both. And that, my loves, is your flower. Chain 2 and join. This is a bit tricksy. You want to join it to the top of your first petal. Now, because when you do your petals, if you can see, I'll get that out of the way, you can see that it creates like a 3D effect. So the top of that first petal is sort of somewhere under here. I just see if I can find a nice place and join it with a slip stitch. And that, pull your yarn up, snip it off, and that is your flower. I mean, it's on its own, this flower is incredible. Thank you, Pam. You are, as ever, a genius. So that is the pink. So now I'm going to take some of the yellow, and we're going to join the yellow. So underneath you've got all of your petals and you've got your little chain 2 spaces. Okay, you're just going to join your yellow into any chain 2 space. I just put my hook through, grab the yarn, pull the yarn through, wrap the short end over the long end just to create a bit of extra stability, and stitch. Pull it nice and tight. Okay, so you've joined your yellow yarn, and then you are going to chain 3. Okay, and then you're going to do 2 trebles into that same space. 1 and 2. So you've got that first chain 3 counts as your first treble. So you've effectively got 3 trebles in that first space. You're going to chain 2, and then you're going to do 3 trebles into the next chain 2 space. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 2 and into the next chain 2 space. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 2, keep going round, 3 trebles to chain into each chain 2 space all the way round, and I'll meet you at the end. So I've done my final 3 trebles and I chain 2 and join with a slip stitch. So we've got all the way around. We join with a slip stitch to the top of the beginning, chain 3. Okay, and that creates our first flat round, I should call it. Okay, are you ready? We're going again. We're chaining 3, same colour. You can, if you want to, change colour. Chain 3 and then do 1 treble into that same stitch that you just chained 3 from. Okay, so effectively into that first stitch you've got 2 trebles, and then 1 treble into the middle stitch and 2 trebles into the last. Okay, do you see how that goes? Chain 2 and 2 trebles into the first treble, 1, 2, 1 treble into the middle treble, go away ball of yarn, and 2 trebles into that last treble. And 2, and then chain 2, and you're doing that all the way around. So effectively you're growing your 3 trebles to a 5 treble. Okay, carry on going like that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. So I'm at my last one. I've chained 2 and doing two trebles in the first treble, 1 treble in the next, and 2 trebles in the last one. Okay, chain 2 and join with a slip stitch to the top of the beginning, chain 3 if you can find it. There we go, join with a slip stitch. Okay, so that is round 4 completed. Oh, and now I'm going to run out of battery, so I will be back in a moment. Oh, luckily I have got spare batteries, so that's all done. Now, I was going to change colour, but I don't think I am. I think I'm going to keep it like this. I might change colour and see how it turns out, and maybe show you that elsewhere. But I'm going to keep it yellow for the 5th round as well. So this one's a little bit different. The reason that I am stopping and saying that I'll meet you at the end is just this does take quite a long time, and this video will be incredibly long. It's probably going to be incredibly long anyway, but yeah, I'm just trying to minimize the length as best I can, and now my daughter is banging on the doors and I'm trying to ignore her. Okay, so here we go for our 5th round. Chain 3 counts as our first treble. Now what we're going to do is a treble into each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on just 1 minute. Oh my gosh, Betsy is determined to get inside the house. I'm like, oh, give me 5 more minutes, I'll be there in 5 minutes. So basically we're going to do a treble into these next 4 trebles, but we are going to leave the last loop on the hook for each of them. So yarn round hook into the first treble, yarn round hook and pull through. Okay, so we just do yarn round hook and through the first 2. Okay, that's all you do, and then you do your next treble and you only do the first 2, and then you do your next treble and you only do the first 2, and then you do your next treble. You do the first 2 If you can see, we've got all of the last loops on the hook, and all we do is we put our yarn around our hook and we go through all, and we've created our little pointy cluster. I really like it. I think it looks gorgeous. Now we're going to chain 3 and we're going to do 1 double crochet into this chain space. Okay, 1 double crochet, chain 3 again, and then we're going to do 1 treble into each of these trebles. No cluster, just straight 5 trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. No cluster on that one. So chain 3, 1 DC into the loop, into the chain space, sorry, not the loop, chain 3, and then on this group of 5 trebles we are going to leave the last loop on. So work your first treble, she says, and just go through the first 2 loops. Second treble, just go through the first 2 loops. Third treble, fourth treble, and 5th. Okay, got all your loops up on your hook. Yarn round hook through all 5. Well, I think there's more than 5 on there, but chain 3 and 1 DC into that next chain space. Chain 3 and 5 straight trebles. You can tell this is a little bit more tricksy, can't you? Because I'm not yibber yabbering. Normally I'm waffling away, aren't I? 1, 2, 3, and a DC, and 1, 2, 3. Yeah, normally I'm just chattering away. So can you see what you get? You get 5 normal trebles, and then you get a cluster. 5 normal trebles, and then this one's a cluster. So into the first treble, only through the first 2 loops. Do that for all of them. And yarn round hook and through all loops. 1, 2, 3. DC into the chain space. 1, 2, 3. And 5 straight trebles. I did this last night. Sat in front of my computer drinking nighttime tea. Nighttime tea. I'm addicted to those pucker teas. Have you ever seen them? They've got so many different brands. Sorry, not brands. So many different varieties, and I'm always buying them. Some of them are really disgusting, but this nighttime one is just yummy. It's got really unusual ingredients like oat flour and lime flour, which I've never heard of before. But so that's 5 straight trebles there, which means that this one here will be a 5 treble cluster. So just through the first 2 loops, and again, and again. I hope I'm doing this this on screen because I'm looking at my hands. Oh, 1, 2, 3, DC, 1, 2, 3, and we're at our very last one. So 5 straight trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last lot. 1, 2, 3, DC, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we just join into the top of that first 5 treble cluster, and this time we break off our yellow yarn. I can't remember what colour that is off the top of my head, but I will find out, and I will write all of the colours in the box. So this is what we have so far. So cool, isn't it? So last round, get yourself some green. Any green will do. And let's have a look what my pattern says. So starting from the top of that cluster, and actually I normally, when I join, join my colour into the next, into a different loop, but on this pattern I don't, because I just think it's easier to see, because we've already slip stitched into that cluster, it's easier to see the right place to go in. And all I do is, once I've put that in, just tighten both those stitches up. Okay, so we're there, we're ready to go. We've got our green in and we're in the top of a cluster. Oops, not very tight, hold on, there we go. Oh, I'm moving around all over the place. Okay, 5 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we're going to work 1 treble into that first DC that was made into the 2 chain space, and 1 treble. Okay, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in this 5 treble these 5 straight trebles, we're going to work a 5 treble cluster like we did before. So we go 1 treble, but just through the first 2 loops, 2, just through the first 2 loops, 3, 2 loops, 4, 2 loops, 5, 2 loops. Okay, yarn round hook, pull all the way through, and now we're going to do a 5 chain, and we're going to picot that by slip stitching back into the top of the cluster. Okay, so we've created a little, you'll be able to see a little bit better in a minute. Chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 treble into the next DC. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next group is a cluster, and we just work 1 DC into the top of that cluster. Okay, and then 5 chain again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 treble into this DC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 5 treble cluster over these trebles. So into your treble through the first 2 loops, 2 loops, 2 loops, and your round hook and through all. Okay, picot comes next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and slip stitch back into the top of your cluster to create a picot. Chain 5 again, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 treble into this DC. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 DC into the top of your cluster. There, stopped recording. I don't know why it stopped recording. What you will see is that your little picots here and here, they form your corners. Okay, see that? So they form your corners. And you just carry on going all the way around, doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a treble in your DC. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 treble cluster. So through the first 2 loops only, through the first 2 loops only, 2 loops only, and through all, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and picot by slip stitching it into the top of your cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, treble into the DC, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a DC into the top of your cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, treble into DC. I'm right to the end now. Oh, thank goodness, because I am sick of the sound of my own voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 5 treble cluster. Oops, no, I've done that wrong. It's because I'm rushing, because I know that my husband wants to mow the lawn. Oh, my second battery ran out. This is what happens when you start rushing. So yeah, what I was saying is that I'm rushing because I know that my husband wants to mow the lawn. I can see him sitting out there and he's being very lovely and waiting for me to finish this video. So we're doing, imagine if he started the lawnmower, my face. You won't be able to hear me speaking. Just be able to hear him mowing our lawn. Our lawn is incredibly big as well, so it will go on for a long time. I don't know why we have such an incredibly long garden. I'd happily give some of it away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be such a long video. I have to split it into 2. Picot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where am I? Treble into the DC. see. Try to keep all of the other bits of yarn out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we join to our beginning. Hooray! I am finished. The beautiful flower vintage square is done. Now it does need blocking, so this is blocked and this is not, so you can see the difference that a good blocking made. All I did was I pinned the picoed corners out like so, sprayed it with water, and the next morning I came down and it looked, oh, they're amazing, aren't they? They look gorgeous. Oh, they look like boobs. Or is that just me and my ridiculous mind? So that is my vintage flower square, my spring tulip vintage flower square. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you make some, and if you do, let me see them. I want to see your creations. And thank you so much for watching this incredibly long video, and don't forget to subscribe, leave me a comment, say hi, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye bye.